Welcome back. So what we're going to do now is look at one other type of graph known as a box and whisker plot. As the name implies, it's going to have a box with whiskers extending from either side. So I want to tell you how it's built, the associated terminology, and then conclude by comparing the box and whisker plot with a histogram and see how they communicate some of the same information. So let's go ahead and pull that up. So what is a box and whisker plot? Well, first we need to divide our data into 4 parts. Each of those parts is known as a quartile, hence quarter, fourths, and so on. So the median of the lower half of the ordered data is called the first quartile, denoted with a Q subscript 1. We call it Q1. The median is the second quartile. We call that Q2. The median of the upper half of the ordered data is the third quartile, Q3. And then the difference between Q3 and Q1 is known as the interquartile range. And so we've got between, if you think about between the, show you why it's called quartiles here. If you take the appropriate pen, here we go. If you have a minimum, whoops, come on pen. If you have a minimum, say here, and you have then Q1 here, and then you have, say, Q2, maybe here, say Q3 is here, and maybe our maximum is out here. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay. And again, these are all going to be sitting on a number line. Then what you can see is that these values separate the data into 4 parts. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 between min and max, and hence quartiles. All right, so here's an example. We have these heights, and I want to represent this with a box and whisker plot. So the first thing I'm going to do is reorder these. I'm going to put them in order from least to greatest. So if I want, and I do want, let's hop over to Excel. So we're going to take these numbers, I'm going to copy them, and then I'm going to come over here to Excel and just input those like so. Now, if you don't like the big, giant font, you can just tell it to paste according to the destination. It'll give it a reasonable size. And again, we want to go text to columns. And I want to get rid of, right, I want to tell it to form columns where those commas are. So delimited, comma. And so there I've got this nice list of numbers. Whoops. And what I want to do is order it from least to greatest. Now you might notice that it's in a row, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in a column just because I think our brains seem to work that way. There is an Excel function for that, but I'm going to go ahead and type it just to not give us too much to think about. So if we move down here, 68, 67, 61, 66, 71, 70, 64, 75, 76, 58, and 68. So then I can get rid of all this stuff here. All right. So I want to order this data from least to greatest. So now it's sorted. So I see that my minimum is 51, my maximum is 76. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these numbers. I'm going to bring these back over to my presentation. And let's, whoops, sorry guys. Go ahead and just put those right in here. Okay, so I've got this list, it's been sorted, and I just brought it back so I can see it. I'm also gonna enlarge this a little bit so you all can see it. Okay, maybe bring this back to a reasonable size. So there's my data. And what I wanna do is identify the minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, and obviously the maximum. So let's do that. So the first thing to notice is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 is the size of my data set. So if I've got a data set of 16, then I'm gonna have two values that share the center. So let's count off 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so now we've got values 8 and 9. Okay, and so my minimum is 51. Q1, well, Q1 is going to be the median of the lower half. So that's everything, whoops, why does it keep doing that? Everything from here to there, okay? And so if you look at those values, we've got 8 values, 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so my Q1 is going to be the mean of the two middle values, right there. And then similarly, my median, right, Q2, mentioned will be the mean of 66 and 67. And then we've got our lower half. So what two values occupy the center? 70 and 71. Okay, so Q1 is going to be 61 plus 63 divided by 2. Again, it's just the median of the lower half of the data. That's 62. Q2, also known as my median, 66 plus 67 divided by 2, which is 66.5. Q3, 70 plus 71 divided by 2, better known as 70.5. And then my maximum, 76. And so now I'm ready to actually build this box and whisker. So the way this works is we start with our minimum. And we come up to our maximum. So I have a minimum value of 51 and a maximum of 76. Now, this is essentially a number line, so I'm going to place the other values on here. I'm not going to be super precise. I'm going to somewhat estimate these distances, but 62, right, might be, well, I'll start with the median, 66.5. So that's going to be a little bit closer to 76 than it is to 51. So here's my median. Q1, 66.5. I'm sorry, Q1 is 62. Eyeball that. And Q3 is 70.5. Might be right there. And so what we have now is this box with the following values: 62, 66.5, and 70.5. And so there we have it, a box with whiskers. Ergo, box and whisker. Okay, so just to summarize, we order our data, we find the minimum, the max, the median of the lower half, the median of the entire set, and the median of the upper half. Those divide that range into 4 sections, and we can build our box and whisker. So the question now is, how does that compare to the histogram? Well, here's an example that we did previously. I have these pulse rates, and I went ahead and, obviously this isn't by hand, I have this histogram here. I want to see what the box and whisker looks like compared to this histogram. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place the box and whisker using this same horizontal axis. I'm going to place it above the histogram. And so we should be able to make some comparisons here. So let's go ahead and grab this data and put it in Excel. I might give you a moment to do that. Go ahead and put it in Excel and form it into one column. Okay, so I'm gonna hop over here to Excel, and I've got all those values right here, okay? There are 50 of them. So again, the first thing I wanna do, again, maybe I'll do this over here, but I want the minimum value. I want Q1. I want the median, or Q2, Q3, and the max. So I'm gonna take this data, highlight the column, and I'm gonna sort it from least to greatest. So again, that's this sort function. And now I can look at it and say, oh, well, my mean is 36. And my max, if I scroll down to the last cell, is 96. I can also find the median, right? So I'm gonna say equals, and then median, parentheses, and A1, go down to A50. So again, look up in this command box, right? I have equals the median, and then I'm telling Excel where to find the data that it's gonna compute the median for. So it's looking in those first 50 columns, or first 50 cells of column A, and then there's our median. Now Q1, remember that's also the median, so equals median, but it's the median of the lower half of the data. Our data is sorted, so I'm gonna find the median of the first 25 values, right? 1 through 25, and then 26 to 50. So median of values 1 through 25 is 62, and then Q3 is going to be the median of values 26 through 50. So I'm gonna come down here to the 26th entry, scroll down to the 50th entry, hit enter, and there's my maximum. So I have these 4 values, or I'm sorry, 5 values rather, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy those because I'm gonna use them. So let's come over here to, back to my, my box and whisker. And I'm actually going to insert myself a little line here just to be a little more accurate, so I can, you guys might appreciate that too. And then I'm gonna insert my values there just so that I remember what they are. Oops. Maybe do some little real-time editing. I'm sure you enjoy watching this. Okay. And so I can see where my minimum is. I'm gonna go ahead and put all those values, right, onto my box and whisker. So again, this 36 is the minimum. Why does it keep doing that? The minimum. So 36. Up here, the maximum. And then Q1 is 62. Well, look at my boundary values here. This is 53.5, and I can tell you my lengths here are 9. So 62 is like somewhere right in here. So there's my Q1, that's 62. And then my median is 72. And again, I'm just estimating based on this axis below. So 72. And then 82. So there's my box right there. And so if you look at the box and whisker compared to the histogram, you might notice, right, remember this is the inner quartile range, right? Half the values are in here. And that box corresponds to where the highest frequencies are, right? So you can detect where those high frequencies occur and some of the shape just from looking at the histogram. You see that agreement with the box and whisker, right? The box and whisker sort of corroborates what we see from the histogram and vice versa. So it's a valid exercise to take your histogram and then put that box and whisker above it just to make some comparisons. And so you can see how these both relate. All right, so that is box and whisker, and that actually concludes this section. So it's been fun. Hopefully it's been enjoyable, and I look forward to continuing with you. Until next time.